This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Look at how he takes his time. He gets Cody hung up in the ropes. And now across the ring. Running headbutt by Sikoa. I don't think he got all the...
Welcome to Didn't Get All of It. I'm Cody Carlson, and this week on the show, we've got a lot of SummerSlam fallout to cover, including the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Six. And have we seen the last of Becky Lynch in the WWE? And have we seen the last of the Lucha Brothers in AEW? Plus, we've got less than 3 weeks until AEW All In, so we're going to talk about the build towards that. And to help me talk about all this, the entirety of the Fatal Four is here this week. That's right, back from his sabbatical, B-Rob.
Yes, I had to go to the old country and find myself and, just come back refreshed and renewed.
You sound very refreshed. And the freshest of the four, we've got Paul Griffin.
That's right. I just went to the dentist today. I'm extra fresh. Can you hear my clean teeth?
Got to click them together. Click them.
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't do ASMR here.
But someone who loves ASMR and loves podcasts, including a new one that just debuted this week on your Fatal 4 podcast feeds. It is Pro Wrestling Noah.
I had the hiccups before we started recording, but I'm okay now. It was really bad. Y'all were getting really mad at me because we couldn't record the show.
We are starting an hour late.
Yeah.
Very bad. Very bad. I mean, I felt the reverberation of his chest cavity just boom, 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 with every hiccup.
Yeah. Hiccuping directly into the microphone, just so y'all could be updated with how that was going. But yes, I have a new podcast, Squared Circle Strafe. Go look for it on whatever podcatcher you use. Part of the Fatal 4 network.
Yeah. And make sure you subscribe to this podcast as well. Didn't Get All of It, wherever you get your podcasts. We've got new shows that drop every Friday morning. And if you head on over to fatal4pod.com, that's fatal4, F-O-U-R, pod.com, you can have links to all of our shows, including Noah's new show and B-Rob's other show, Didn't Get All of It Japan, and plus links to all of our socials and other ways to stay in touch with the show, including our Patreon.
Cody, what about our other show?
We have another show?
Nope. It's pretty great, isn't it?
I was going to say, did I miss an announcement?
No.
Okay. Maybe soon. Stay tuned.
I did pitch one to you, but you didn't seem to like it, so.
It was called Bond with Paul and Cody.
Actually. Not far off.
Oh, it's the 24 pod.
No, I've done one of those before. That sucked.
Oh.
But not 24 though. The pod did.
Oh, okay.
Wicks out with Paul and Cody.
No, there's no bigger desire in the world right now than somebody wanting a 24 podcast. A show that hasn't been on in 15 years.
Hey man,
it's about the show. I thought we were just gonna talk about the number 24.
We could talk about the year.
Oh, we should talk about the movie, the number 23.
Thing? Turns out 24 has never been more relevant than right now.
Yeah.
What about 1924, Noah?
That was a pretty good year.
I think that's
a good year for 24s.
That's 1906. Anyways.
Paul has
all right. Anyway, there's a lot of wrestling happenings this week that we got to get into. Let's jump into it. So, SummerSlam was last week. Which, if you want to hear our thoughts on that, you can check out the SummerSlam show that we put out. But
turns out it's very divisive.
Yeah, a little bit. But we're going to talk about the Raw that aired 2 days later. A lot of things happened. A lot of further developments of stuff that we saw in SummerSlam and new directions that were headed in. One of which being the world title picture. So, as we know, Gunther won the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, and this week we found out who his next opponent would be, or his first challenger, I should say.
Yes.
The legend killer, Randy Orton.
Yeah, big beefy guy now. More so than
who, Orton?
Yeah, almost 300 pounds. So he says.
This promo
really
ruled.
The promo was cool. Yeah, he also threw a baseball really well this week.
Really well? I wouldn't. That's not how
he's not a baseball player. Hang on. I need to understand this because I watched that pitch and he threw it straight down the line over the mound into the guy's hand. I've seen a lot of people throw out first pitches, but the person who was doing commentary over this was like, well, that was not good.
What?
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. He made it to the fucking thing. What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball?
Yes.
I mean, it was very much not over the plate, and it was.
They literally bring in celebrities to play catch to start a baseball game. Half the time, they can't even get it to someone to catch.
All right.
Sometimes they don't.
What are you asking for?
Was it Cody
to spit on it and toss it to the side really fast, and it spins around and shit?
Yeah, we want him to hawk Tua on that thing.
You want him to spit on that thing?
Cody, was it better or worse than Liv Morgan's? Because Liv Morgan's was really good.
Yeah, I think it was worse, honestly.
Really?
Worse. They're both good.
It was much better than 50 Cents. That's for sure.
They played the catch well.
Well, anyway, good thing he's
Baseball
a professional wrestler, not a pitcher. Yeah, I also really enjoyed this segment. Despite the fact that Orton's on SmackDown and doesn't really make any sense, but he basically justified it by saying that he never really lost to Gunther at King of the Ring. His shoulders were up, and Triple H promised him a rematch, and so he's basically cashing in that rematch now that he's champion.
Yeah, they also did some general manager shenanigans, little small vignettes, kind of like, hey, I made a deal to make this happen and stuff.
Yeah, my theory was that because they put Austin Theory and Grayson Waller on this show, that part of the deal was they can wrestle on this show, but you also need to send Randy Orton because we don't want them here. Because they fucking stink.
The theory is theory.
But yeah, this was a solid promo. Easy setup. The first match was really good. I'm sure this one will, be just as good, if not better. B-Rob, you were pointing out a couple things that irked you about this promo, though. Orton talking about Bash in Berlin, how it's Gunther's hometown.
Yeah, motherfucker ain't German. He's goddamn Austrian. It's not the same.
I mean, I'm no map, but it's pretty close, right?
I mean,
I think
if he was a German, he would be from Germany, I guess. But he's Austrian. Is even in his Twitter tag or X tag, whatever the fuck they use now. Gunther Austrian. I don't know. It just irked my nerves to hear him keep saying German, and almost historically, German has almost been like a bad word in some instances. It was just almost equivalent to him almost saying the N-word. Oh, wait a minute. He does that anyway. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
they speak German there.
In Austria?
Does that count for anything? Yeah. I'm looking at it right now on the Wikipedia. It's the official language.
But I'm asking, would that make him German though?
I don't know. Can people be two different things?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they could.
Could someone hypothetically be like Native American or Indian or black at the same time?
Yeah, if you mix.
Maybe he's mixed.
I don't know. His wife isn't German, so I don't think he was.
That's not how it happens.
No, I'm just saying.
You don't just absorb what your wife is.
No, I'm just saying Germans have a issue with mixing the things. So.
All right. Well,
I feel like all of our German listeners are going to be furious at this episode.
I found a Reddit. I found a Reddit page for R Ask a German, and the question is, do you consider Germans and Austrians to be the same people? And the comments seem to be mixed.
That's why. I mean, if they're the same, why give them different names? But I don't know. I mean, that's because, like, all right, let's even go to like, El Salvador and Honduras and all kind of stuff. They all speak Spanish, but they're Hondurans and Salvadorians and stuff like that. So like, is it the same? Is it different? Because that's different from Mexico, but they still speak Spanish. I don't know.
Sometimes they speak different Spanishes.
But it's Spanish, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's different
I know
Germans
that.
then.
Look, welcome
So you don't know.
Welcome to Didn't Get All of Geopolitics.
I was going to say, look, I host a professional wrestling podcast. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm an anthropologist.
Here you go. He has held permanent residence in Germany since 2008. How does that fare from being from Germany? How long do you have to be somewhere to be from somewhere?
I don't know. I guess by osmosis, I'll be a Texan pretty soon.
Yeah.
There you go.
B-Rob from Texas. That's what they
All those
say.
guns, you better be a Texan.
I look forward to where the world heavyweight title picture is going.
Yes.
Yeah, it's me who
And
good first decider of I beat Randy Orton for real this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, I don't see it going any other way than him like getting that definitive win this time.
could you imagine
Yeah,
if
he
Orton
has to.
won?
What is this? Every time Randy Orton wrestles, you send us a text being like, could you imagine if he won the title right now?
It'd be so cool. I want to see Orton win the title again. That's all.
I don't know about all that, but I don't know. It's kind
I
of
feel
like
like that
a
belt
thing
would
with,
look really good on him too.
Do it in the video game.
It's kind of a thing with like him
Going
and
to.
like Cena or whatever, because they're like so close to that record and whatnot. So it's just like for them to like at this point, all right, just give him a couple more title wins.
Well, also on Raw this week, we had a lot more shenanigans going on with the Judgment Day.
Most of my life, I've been on my own. That was until I found the Judgment Day. They gave me a reason to fight. They made me feel like I belong somewhere. But then last Friday, at the premiere of my documentary, I heard what people had to say, what I meant to them, and I see you all tonight. I hear you, I see you. And I realize that my family got a whole lot bigger. So Finn Balor, let me introduce you to my new family.
You see, I didn't betray you. You betrayed the Judgment Day. You know how it was supposed to be. We all have each other's backs. No leaders. But that all changed when you became champion. I'm gonna wait till you feel safe. I'm gonna wait till you feel comfortable. I'm gonna wait till you've almost forgotten about me. And then when your back is turned, I'll be there to stab you in it again and again and again. And it won't just be me. We all will.
And a dirty dom with a chop block. And now Morgan getting involved. Kicking away on Priest. The numbers game. Wait a minute. Bobby's here. JD, your night's about to go from bad to worse. South of heaven.
I don't think they're actually ready for the brutality that we're going to hand them.
They
Because
think
it's
they
going
know pain. They don't know a damn thing yet. We're gonna make it rain pain.
The Pain Rainers. Good team name.
He's gonna make it rain pain.
I
like
this
Pain Rainer.
all. This all really worked. Like babyface Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest especially fucking rule.
I could not have told you 2 years ago when this faction debuted that like it would be the hottest thing in the industry right now.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago he was a vampire for a week.
That too.
Yeah. Purple lights and all kinds of stuff.
But yeah, it really worked. Like, he was extremely over. The crowd was super into him. I thought his very quick little explanation promo there worked, you know, being like, look, I heard you guys, like, my documentary, you know, it's a good point bringing that up. People are behind him. They want to cheer for this guy, and it's working. And I, yeah, definitely would not have predicted Damian Priest being one of the biggest baby faces in the game right now, but it's working.
He give me big Dominic Toretto vibes.
He, except Dominic would never turn on his family.
Well, he didn't. They turned on him.
I think WWE should be very proud with how this has played out. I don't think you could ask for a more over babyface coming out of this, and both him and Rhea are somehow more popular than they were before. Like, Rhea was popular to start.
Yeah.
And she's bigger now. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I was seeing a lot of I guess you could call it mainstream attention for Rhea Ripley this past week, like getting like TikToks of completely casual or even non-wrestling fans being like, who is this Rhea Ripley?
I feel like that happens almost every pay-per-view though. Like, new footage
I think
of Rhea
she's going to
Ripley
jump
comes
out pretty quick.
Like, oh my god.
And then
yeah, but I think this, now that she's like full-fledged babyface, I think it's gonna really help.
Yeah, I also think the WWE crossover DLC kind of helped out a lot with that too.
That's a good point.
There's a lot of Rhea Ripley's running around in the game right now.
I never considered that. I didn't even. Is that the mainstream Call of Duty, or is that a secondary Call of Duty?
That's the
main
one.
Modern
Like,
Warfare
if I go buy the
3.
latest one, that's the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, like, also like like Call of Duty is this is for the other podcast. Call of Duty is kind of a like game as service anyways. Like, you have to buy the $60 thing every time, but they have like a shared client where you just load up any Call of Duty that you want now, and there's like content for across multiple versions of the game.
Also, there's like the Fortnite equivalent, Warzone, so that's free to play for everyone. So I mean, you don't have to, you just do like your skin buys and your freaking VC and all that other stuff and that. So that's completely free. And Rhea Ripley and all those other skins are in that game as well. So like, even if you didn't buy the $60 Call of Duty, you could still play with them all in Warzone and all that other stuff for free. Well, that you buy the DLC, but a free game.
Neat. Yeah, I think she's going to be as big as they want her to be. I think, I don't know. I thought everything they did on this show was great with them. Establishing the group as Finn's group now, even though no leaders. Liv Morgan's involvement was really good. The fact that Rhea got her hands on her briefly was also great. Like, they gave people what they wanted. And the South of Heaven chokeslam that he did to JD was,
oh my god,
wild.
The rafters. Quite
They
impressive.
had a really good match too, leading up to that.
Him and Joey were dropping people with great chokeslams.
I feel like it was one of JD McDonough's best matches.
I feel like this is one of the best episodes of Raw this year, honestly.
Oh,
it was pretty solid top to bottom.
Yeah, it was definitely a very good episode. I enjoyed all this, but I think probably my favorite thing on the show was the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins segment, and what unfolded after it.
I think what unfolded after it was cool, but the segment itself was kind of like,
I mean, just as a whole, I thought it was all very good. Like, I thought CM Punk's promo was very good and concise, and I thought, he did a good job of being like, yeah, I'm happy that I'm here, but I'm pissed that went down the way it did, and Drew McIntyre, get your ass out here so we can fight. And then Seth Rollins came out instead and was like, obviously pissed for what Punk did to him at SummerSlam, and then Drew McIntyre interrogating from the stands and Punk just immediately rushing after him, I thought was all very, very good.
Yeah, and then
Where
it's the same thing where Rollins was just standing there like, well, everybody was like, well, fuck me, huh?
I mean,
and then
kind of.
Up.
Yeah.
Earlier in the show, Bronson Reed went up to Adam Pearce and was like, "Yo, if you don't give me any fucking opportunities, I'm gonna go take one." And
start murking motherfuckers.
He beat the shit out of Rollins.
God,
he did
I
like 8 tsunamis?
Yeah, something like that. I saw someone describe it as like, this is one of those like wrestling beatdowns that makes kids cry. Like just like beating the shit out of like a beloved babyface like Seth Rollins.
The problem was
true.
It got over and people were cheering it.
Yeah, they were chanting one more time.
I'm just glad that I feel like this is doing a lot for. I feel like they were really struggling trying to make Bronson Reed work on the main roster, and I think they finally cracked it with this.
Yeah, and it also gave me the vibes like what I think it was Macho Man versus the either Steamboat or freaking Ultimate Warrior, where he just kept spamming the elbow drops and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was much needed development or like credibility being given to Bronson Reed.
Yeah,
he's been kind of floundering, and like instantly with just this one segment, he's a viable threat now.
So my question is like, does Rollins go away for a while, or is this to set up something between these two?
I think both.
I think it's both.
Yeah, because there's been some reports that he really is not 100%, and he came back a little too soon, and that's probably why he was in the role he was at SummerSlam, and he needs some time off. And I thought if that's the case, this is a perfect way to do it, because now it puts a pin in Punk and Rollins, so that way we can revisit that, maybe at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania even, because that's a big match. That's a marquee match. Put a pin in that. Let Rollins go away, heal up for several months, and then when he comes back, he doesn't have to immediately jump into Punk. He can do this feud with Bronson Reed. So I thought,
I don't think he'll be out that long.
Smart.
I'd
say at least a month.
Yeah, it'll probably be cool when he comes back, but yeah, it won't be that long because apparently he's cleared. He's just sore.
Yeah. I don't expect him in Germany, but I could see Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins happening at like Bad Blood.
Yeah, they all deserve breaks.
Yeah, that would work. Apparently Dakota Kai's also injured. They took her out of a match on Raw this week, which is a bummer. But she wasn't like hobbling or anything, so maybe it's not that serious of an injury. There's not like any real reporting on what it is yet.
Yeah, and I feel like
because she was there for the beatdown backstage.
Yeah, I don't know. You know how they pre-record those things sometimes, but like, regardless, it's just like they're doing stuff with them, but they're not doing nothing significant, I don't think, or whatever. And it's good to like just take a break. I mean, they got a bloated ass roster. They got so many fucking people.
They just turned them babyface this week, and in a really good match that the crowd chanted, "This is boring" during, who then later cheered for a smoke machine. So like, I don't know. Wasn't blown away by the crowd reaction. We had a really great Io Sonya match, and they couldn't be bothered. But when a bunch of jobbers come out with a smoke machine, it's different.
Okay,
probably
we'll get to that.
They probably imported the crowd from NXT. But like, I seen a little bit of that Sonya Deville performance, and it probably got better toward the end. I was preoccupied with stuff. I had a big weekend, but like, she was just kind of spamming a whole bunch of knees, not really doing too much from what I saw.
Hey, if it works, it works. Bronson Reed spammed 8 tsunamis. We were cool.
Well,
that
was different. But yeah.
Speaking of different, and also speaking of jobbers, Odyssey Jones showed up on this show.
Hell yeah, he did. Holy shit. He showed up in a big way, representing apparently the New Day.
Yeah, he came out to save Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston after being beaten down by the Final Testament. Came out wearing a New Day shirt. I instantly dubbed him Bigger E. And I was like, damn, they're really just gonna like recast Big E like this. But later on in the show, I thought it was actually interesting, the backstage segment they did where they basically explained like why by saying that Kofi was like, oh yeah, Odyssey, we met when I was at the PC, rehabbing my injury. And
it's weird that they didn't meet him at Raw, where he's been on the roster for 2 years.
Nobody knows that. But I thought what was interesting was that Xavier Woods was very hesitant. He had this look of doubt on his face. Like, so I'm interested what they do with this.
Yeah, that'll
it's kind of like
interesting development.
Yeah, it looks like in a way to where how we're saying, oh, this is Bigger E, this is the replacement. I think Woods might err on that side to where, like, I mean, you're just trying to replace my friend and shit. I think that would be a cool angle to go with.
Also, we can't gloss over the fact.
I hope it doesn't lead to a split. I hope it leads to like a month or so of like, I don't know how I feel about this, and then at the end they're all like, I love this. We're all best friends now, and it's New Day 2.0.
Yeah, just the like, happy New Day. That's
or start calling Odyssey Jones Big E.
No,
oh my god.
Because like they even played with it a little bit on commentary, and some other people even pointed out in promo, like Karrion Kross, to where like he's the man next to the man, and he's never been like a singles competitor and all kinds of stuff like that. So like something like this can be like, all right, you don't need me here. I'm gonna go do my own thing. I think that's a cool angle too.
Also, we can't gloss over the fact that the Odyssey Jones picked up both Akam and Razor at the same time and did like a sidewalk slam with both of them. But like he like picked them both up and stood there for a second. It wasn't like
it wasn't.
They were doing a coordinated move. He just picked them both up and then slammed them on the ground. It was crazy.
And it's not like it's like he picked up one, walked over, grabbed the other one, then did the thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude is strong.
Yeah, it was great. Crowd popped for it too. So they got what they needed. Interesting stuff. Felt like a reset Raw.
Absolutely. And we saw in the main event the debut, or I should say the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Six.
I was pleased. I know that the reaction is probably going to be more negative across the podcast, but I thought they did really great. The crowd was very into it. What I thought was interesting was
into it the whole time. That doesn't make it good.
Wrestling
fans are stupid.
What I found interesting was that Dexter Lumis seemed to be wrestling different. Like his style was a little more like fluid, like a little more agile.
He's possessed by the bird from the Funhouse.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's his thing. He's the Birdman.
Yeah, Michael Cole was doing a lot of
heavy
lifting. He had a lot of work to do here.
A lot of exposition of explaining this.
He
bullshit.
thinks he's Huskus the pig. Remember Huskus?
It annoyed me too that they were like he would call him throughout the match. He'd be like Huskus, Joe Gacy, or like switch between the two, and it's like just.
I don't think they know what they want to call them.
Right? Like, do we want to just call them Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, or right? Yeah, like Michin, or do we want to like actually call them these stupid names?
If this was this company 2 years ago doing this, I wouldn't put it past him to put Vince McMahon out there in a Halloween mask of Vince McMahon as the Vince McMahon puppet. Be really terrible. Don't want that.
But also, we'd be remiss not mentioning that this was the official, I guess, crowning of American Made, which is the name we now know is given to Chad Gable and the Creed brothers.
Yeah, because he was like,
I think it works.
Fuck that shit. Y'all can
he
have
even
that
told
name.
Maxine to keep that old name.
Yep.
I liked that. I like their look. Like, the coordinated singlets and the Neutron and music is pretty good.
Yeah, the music sounds just like, Rip of Kurt Angle shit.
It should be until he turns babyface and uses American Made.
Or you mean American Male?
No, American Made. The Hulk Hogan theme.
Oh, the Hulk Hogan. Okay.
No,
the good Hulk Hogan theme, not the real American.
No, how about like no Hulk Hogan? You don't want none of that.
You erase him by giving that theme to somebody else.
Nah, you don't. You make people think of that shit by playing it for somebody else.
No one thought about the Patriot when they thought about Kurt Angle.
I did. I liked the Patriot. But anyway, this match was fine. It was whatever. But like, I just my thoughts on the Wyatt Six is well documented, and
You're not a
this did
spooky
nothing for
boy,
me.
and that's okay.
It doesn't matter. They're not that interesting in the ring either.
Not,
I mean, they did a lot of
all
like
the wrestling has to be for everybody.
they did moves to each other onto people. That was kind of their thing. Like, what if I threw Dexter Loomis at you instead of him jumping? That kind of shit. That's fine, I guess. I mean, at least they weren't like invulnerable in this match. Like, they did sell and they did get hit and they laid around. So it's not the end of the world. They just really don't seem like they fit in. Like, wrestling seems so different than spooky time.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a little corner that's spooky time.
Okay, the corner's the main event. I don't like that. Put him in a corner. Put him at like the 30-minute mark of like hour 2.
Also, you mentioned the smoke machine. You know who else has a smoke machine? The Judgment Day.
So they're good wrestlers. No one's popping for their fucking smoke machine. They're popping for them.
But also, like, they had a good match. It wasn't a bad match.
It was fine.
It was very
After
fun.
this show, it was like it stood out as I would say a down point of the show in terms of performance, but in terms of spectacle, everyone else liked it. So
Yeah,
I'm just wrong here.
You're right.
that's
It's
okay.
fine.
Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got a lot of news stories to talk about.
Do you want more from Fatal 4? Well, you should join our Patreon for only $3 a month and get ad-free episodes and full access to our Discord. You can talk the latest movies and games and sports with one of my favorite ever online communities. Also get exclusive access to pilot episodes for future Fatal 4 podcasts. And not only all of that, but you get the peace of mind of knowing that you are supporting independent wrestling media. So what are you waiting for? Head to patreon.com/fatal4pod. That's fatal, F-O-U-R pod.
All right, folks, we are back, and we didn't really talk a ton about news because it felt like the SummerSlam fallout was a big deal, but we got some news to jump into real quick. First being this Becky Lynch story. For people who aren't following, she was on the finale of their A&E program, and where they do like spotlights of talent of legendary status, and sometimes Roman Reigns. And she basically sent out an Instagram after it was a photo dump and was like, it was an honor being the man for you, but it's a privilege being this girl's mom, and kind of made it seem as if she was retired. So there's a bunch of speculation that she's retired, but there's nobody that's confirmed it one way or the other. According to Fightful, she has not informed WWE that she's retired, and they're also under the impression that they'll work with her again whenever she wants to. I'm also of that impression. My hunch is that she's just on break, and
Yeah.
no one's expecting anything out of her, and she's being a mom, and she's chilling. And I think that's fine.
They deserve all the time off.
She can coast off of book sales for a little bit. It's fine.
I'm sure she saved her money.
Yeah.
She also has a husband who is making a ton of money.
Yes.
That said, like,
And runs
I've
a
seen
school.
some people say like, oh, she wouldn't retire on Instagram, but like she did retire on MySpace the first time for 7 years. So if she actually is retired, I wouldn't be shocked if she's just like, bye.
Like,
See you at the
yeah.
Hall of Fame someday.
If she is retired, like, I don't really care.
You've never liked Becky to begin with, though.
I mean, I thought she had the best year of her career last year. And I gave her my personal Women's Wrestler of the Year award. But you're right. I've never been a huge Becky Lynch fan. That being said, I just feel like we've seen her do everything. Like, she's main evented WrestleMania. She's won all the titles. She won a Royal Rumble. Like, she's got all the accolades. There's not really many dream matches left. Like we saw her work Trish. Like
Our attempt to work Trish.
hey,
they got a good match out of it by the time it was said and done.
Like I don't know, just like what else is there left for her to do?
Yeah, she needs a break.
Yeah.
I think her presence is always welcome. I think she's adds something to the show, and she's great. But I also think it is appropriate for people, especially people of that stature who are around and who have done everything, to kind of just chill for a minute. Like, she kind of has like Lady Randy Orton presence, where he can kind of do whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter as long as he's there. And she can do the same thing. And I think when she comes back, she probably shouldn't be in a title picture too often, unless it's to put someone over. And then she should do like tag team stuff.
Lady Orton.
Yeah, she's Lady Orton. Speaking of Orton, how would you guys like to see Randy Orton go to NXT? Because he is.
Yeah.
Kind of. WWE announced this week that the first 2 episodes of this of NXT on CW, which are going to be October 1st and October 8th, will take place in the Allstate Arena in Chicago and whatever arenas in St. Louis the next week. So, wouldn't you know it, of course CM Punk is going to be on the first episode. And
hell yeah.
Randy Orton has been confirmed to be attending the next one. My question is, who gets the hot spot with Joe Hendry?
Ooh, Punk?
Because
I'd assume Punk.
I assume we get a segment with Punk and Hendry. I assume we get it with Orton too, because they probably both want to do something silly.
Yeah. Yeah, Orton's not shy of doing something silly.
But like, this is an excuse for me to talk about some NXT this week, because I did watch it. The Joe Hendry match, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I look, we've talked in the past, like he's fine. He's a very capable performer, but he's got the character to make up for anything that's not there in the ring. He started this match by hurling himself over the ropes.
Yes.
In a way that he says he only does once every 10 years. It was wild, but he had a really, really good match with Joe Coffey. See, this is why Vince McMahon wouldn't let anyone have the same name. And it was great. It was really, really good. And then after the match, he said he's going to be sticking around for a while, and if anyone has a problem with that, they can fight him. So it sounds like he's just going to be working there.
Which is so weird that like they're letting this happen. I mean, it's good. Yeah, it is great. But
I think we talked about it last week, but TNA deserves to go out of business for the way they've dropped the ball with this guy. But they've also deserved to go out of business so many times throughout the last 2 decades.
They still keep on ticking. But yeah, it's just weird because he's like essentially a part of the NXT roster now, but just under contract with TNA.
I've even seen advertisements with his picture with the NXT and TNA logos on it.
Yeah.
I think this is still pretty smart because, like, how much is this helping TNA? Probably not at all. Like, it might boost their YouTube numbers a little bit, but you think they're seeing like a business shift? Doubt it.
I don't know. And then
meanwhile, WWE is getting to use Joe Hendry, and they are seeing ratings increases because he's a fun act on their program that people tune in for.
Yeah, you seen the video of them singing him to the arena?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
The dude's over. That match, he was so hot in that match. And I don't mean physically, but like that crowd was into that shit the whole time. Imagine if he had a smoke machine.
Be pretty good.
If he stays in NXT too long, he is going to get Florida brained and also have to be spooky.
No. I mean, like, yeah, I think he is just like, so like I was on TikTok the other day and I just saw something that was just like, it's been in my head all day at work. And it was just the Joe Hendry entrance. Like people
they had
very into it.
Yeah, they even had the New Orleans Saints for one of their training camp videos or whatever. The dude was singing the Joe Hendry song.
Yeah.
They got their meme. It's a good one. Kamala Harris was ending a speech yesterday saying, "I believe in this, I believe in that." And I'm like, is she gonna do this thing? Didn't happen. No one's edited the video yet either, which is a real bummer. Because that would be great.
Paul.
I don't know how to do video editing. I can only do pictures. But yeah, I think that'll be fun. NXT outside of Florida to kick off the CW. Maybe this sparks a longer tour.
God, I would watch more NXT if it was not in the CWC as much.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. The crowd was interesting this week. They did some new chants and they seemed more alive than usual. I don't know why, but they brought something new to the table. Here's some stuff that's new to the table. The Lucha Brothers are expected to sign with WWE.
Yeah, there's been talks.
Hell yeah.
So what's the pipeline to them feuding with the LWO?
I think that's how they start.
Yeah, exactly.
Does
Ray bring them in?
I forget what the story was, but it was something along the lines of like, one of their deals is up, but the other one isn't. But it doesn't matter because they're not re-signing, and they're waiting till both of their contracts are available to go to WWE. So they're doing the tag team thing, which I think is smart. WWE needs more tag teams.
They really do. Both companies do.
This could be huge for their tag division.
I think it's going to breathe so much life into that tag division.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool, and it's not like it's a similar thing with a Becky thing. It's like they've done everything in AEW, but they're also not using them at all. So
right.
And do you think do they retain being the Lucha Bros?
For sure.
Or do they have other names? I feel like WWE's been pretty good about that lately, of bringing people from other companies in as themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see
even like Sean Spears came in as Sean Spears despite being a established character in WWE before going to AEW.
I could see them getting a cooler tag team name because the Lucha Bros kind of a stupid name.
No,
but I bet there's still Penta and Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it'll be different without that theme music, though. God, that AEW theme music is so good.
Well, maybe they'll get like
that?
Maybe they'll get Legado del Fantasma's theme when they join Legado.
Oh, man, please no. Also, I know we're like getting towards the Bloodline reunion, so I'm assuming Face Usos are back on the table soon.
Oh man,
yeah.
Usos versus Lucha Brothers at WrestleMania.
That'd be nuts.
Slap.
Is it too much to ask for a TLC match again? Like,
yeah, it's been a while.
Give me. It could be those two, but like, it would be really nice if they could establish tag teams as these are the tables guys, these are the ladder guys, and these are the chair guys.
Can that be Matt and Jeff Hardy's job? Because that was rumored too.
No.
But their job is to just bring the ladders and chairs and tables out.
Their job is tables.
Their job is tables. They're just like, okay, here you go, bye, and then they have the
tables are their corn. B-Rob.
Fuck you.
Speaking of people that WWE's interested in that I don't think we'll be as excited to talk about is Ricky Starks.
What? What do you mean?
He's
People
fine.
like Ricky Starks.
People like him. What do you think he does? Do you think he feuds with All Ego?
Well, but that's the thing. It's just like I say that about a lot of these motherfuckers that they are kind of like setting their gaze on or whatever. It's just what will they do with him? Because like I like Ricky Stark, but like what would this company do with Ricky Stark?
Yeah, I think he's very talented. I mean, I watched him 10 years ago at the VFW hall. Like, he's good. But I also try to wonder, like, what would he do in WWE? And I just don't, unless they want to fire Austin Theory and have a good one. I don't think he ends up on the main roster right away.
I think he could go to NXT and like win the NXT title and start there.
I don't know. I mean, you got a lot of people vouching for him. You know, you got Jade and you got Cody or whatever. So I mean,
Cody and Punk is a big proponent of him too.
So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know where he fits in the equation, but you know, got to give it a chance.
I don't know how
you could start a new show on Saturdays that CM Punk is on. And maybe he could have all his friends there.
Stop. So I know PW Insider is reporting that, WWE's interested in Ricky Starks. There's no word on if they've had in contact or anything like that. And I don't think it's public knowledge as far as the length of Starks' current contract. But if it's up like soon, like within the next month or so, I think it would be actually really cool to have him debut at the Chicago NXT and have him interrupt Punk.
Yeah, that would actually be great.
That'd be a very good way.
They don't have non-competes in AEW,
right?
Nope.
Well, let's hope for that then. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm. We said his name. Hopefully, he'll appear.
So the other stuff that was in the news, which I think broke like after our episode ended last week, was Britt Baker's suspension. And
yeah, this was weird.
It's hard to tell what's happening here, but the story going around is that there was some sort of altercation. I don't know if it doesn't sound like it was a physical one, but there was a backstage kerfuffle between her, MJF, and Alicia Atout, who is MJF's girlfriend / backstage interviewer, 17, not her age, her number of backstage interviewers they have. I don't think there's anything that's notable out of this other than MJF allegedly punched a wall at one point. There was stories that he charged into the women's locker room to get into a fight with Britt Baker. All of it sounds pretty bad across the board, and she's the one who got suspended. So, I assume they did some backstage investigation. If she got suspended and MJF's there every week, there's probably more to this story than anybody knows. I don't know any more to this story. I just know that she was suspended for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that has played into her storyline with Mercedes, which I think the story initially broke.
Straight up called it out.
The story initially broke by, I think, last week saying one of the segments last night on Dynamite was a shoot, but no one wants to report it. And then the story broke. So that carried over to this week where this happened.
And don't even waste your breath on chanting the DMD, because she is not here tonight. Shout out to my EVPs for suspending Britt Baker so we don't have to deal with her till All In. How sweet is that?
Very sweet.
Look, I hate to be the one to break it to you guys, but the DMD is not here. Oh, poor little DMD. Let's talk about the DMD. She is the first ever woman signed here in AEW. How impressive. But they always say that Britt's the first, but never the best. But these two titles let you know that I'm the best in AEW.
Pardon me, CEO up here. I've just been informed by Christopher Daniels that Tony Khan has overruled the Elite, and he has lifted the suspension of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And we do understand that we do have Britt Baker via satellite standing by.
And when I make a commitment to something, I see it through to the end. Unlike you. Because we all know the second things don't go your way, you take your ball and you go home. You're not the future. Let's get real. AEW is just the flavor of the month for you, where for me, AEW is home. So go ahead, Mercedes, walk your walk, talk your talk, and count your money. But this ends at All In, when I become TBS champion and the first female in AEW to beat Mercedes Moné.
Man, that promo sucked.
Yeah, she said DMD a lot.
That there's so much about that I hate. First of all, I don't know why Mercedes is talking like that. It seems like she's going to the learning tree for promo time.
Yeah, fuck that. Don't do that.
It's really that. I think she kept saying it because she really wanted the crowd to chant DMD, and the crowd could not give half a shit about this program, which
also
is
sounded
really
like she was stalling too.
Yeah. It was.
I also thought it was really a weird way to set that up, like to have her talk about the suspension a bunch, and then Tony Schiavone be like, "Actually, her suspension is lifted," and then the crowd's all like, "Yeah," and then to be like, "And here she is via satellite." Like, what?
Yeah, that was stupid.
The crowd booed that. So
That was
it should have
really-
just been
as they
she
should.
popped up on screen. Yeah. She should have just popped up on screen and been like, "Yeah, I'm suspended right now, but guess what? My suspension's up next week and I'll be there to kick your ass." Like, much easier and much better of a setup than what they did.
Also,
but okay, go ahead.
They did the thing that I hate the most, which we talked. Go back three or four episodes. This whole thing's about AEW again. I like AEW more than you. Well, who likes AEW the most? That's shit. Like, make this about you guys. Stop talking about like you came to my place. AEW's my home. Like, this is just MJF and Ospreay program. Stop it. I have zero good things to say about this program. And of course, they can't address why she's suspended.
Well, I think last week they said it was because of like what she did at Comic-Con or something. I think, I don't know. I don't really remember, but
sure.
I did like Britt Baker's like "take your ball and go home" line. I thought that was actually I thought that was good. Garnered a reaction.
I mean, even that doesn't make sense because Sasha walked out on a win. So,
I mean,
they were winning that match, and she was just mad that they weren't getting enough time or something.
No, it was. I mean, she didn't. All Britt said was like, "You don't get your way, and you take your ball."
I mean, who cares? This stinks. I hope they have a good match because this is everything else around it is really tough.
I definitely don't like the Camille stuff. I think she is
Camille.
There's no point in having her with Mercedes. Mercedes does not need a heater.
I think it doesn't hurt, but they don't feel natural together at all.
Yeah.
No.
I think she needs a heater because she's going to be facing a hater.
Oh,
Maybe.
God. Please.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, I like that.
But it also doesn't feel like I hate to say it. If Tamina were there, it would make more sense to put her with Mercedes because they have a history and they like each other. It's a thing.
Don't do that.
But she's got Camille, who is.
Don't do that.
She's I don't know. They tried to make her look extra imposing by having her face two girls that put on Halloween costumes of wrestlers that they bought at Party City. Like, these two people look like they've never wrestled before in their life. Top tier, worst tier of all time.
Nobody Camilla than Camille.
Yeah, that works.
That's right.
That'll be the show title. Good luck finding that. So yeah, that's a stinker. But I think we'll talk more about AEW after this break because we're gonna get into, I guess, another sad promo and the overall world title picture with Swerve and Bryan Danielson.
If you're anything like me, you're enjoying this show called Didn't Get All of It. But what if I told you there was another show called Didn't Get All of It, but it's catered specifically to Japanese professional wrestling?
Where we're covering New Japan's G1 tournament, big news in the world of Stardom, Pro Wrestling Noah's excursions to the West, and anything important from Japanese pro wrestling.
we'll call us Triple H going out west because we're expanding. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the show. In this third segment, we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that happened in AEW this week. Not a ton. There was stuff happened on Dynamite, but I don't know. I feel like people were not feeling it this week. But there was some stuff. Specifically, this sit-down interview that Swerve Strickland had with JR.
Tagging with and going against legends last year at All In and losing, to going all the way to main eventing this year, it means the world to me. And that path truly changed me as an individual.
You've done some controversial things.
For sure.
Are you feel have any remorse over those, or did you do it just because that's what I had to do?
Once again, like I said, you knock on the door long enough and they don't allow you in, you got to make noise.
I got you.
And if you make enough noise, people will listen finally.
He's wrestling this match as if it is his last one.
It could be.
But he's talking like this is it. Win, lose, or draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is before he even gets to the AEW World Championship. If that wasn't enough of a prize and a motivator for Bryan, now it's about legacy.
I believe this is going to be the toughest match you've ever had. Now,
why do you believe that? What makes you think that? What happens when his body gives out on him? How does he defend himself? What if the nerves in his arm just don't work anymore? His neck seizes on him. Everybody always talks about what they're going to do to inflict pain on somebody else. That's what makes them so good. That's what makes them dangerous. What do you do when none of that works because you can't work?
Yeah. Well, he's going to be hard to beat.
Well,
can you beat Bryan Danielson at Wembley Stadium?
Not only can I beat Bryan Danielson, I will.
You're one of the greatest of all time, Bryan. That's why it's going to be great for me and a huge honor for when I retire, you can end your career at All In at Wembley Stadium, and your legacy becomes mine. And I will not hesitate to take that kill shot.
Ooh, this was rough.
Yeah.
This is hard.
So the content was good, but
Swerve was okay. But
yeah,
yikes, Jim Ross.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that everyone's talking about coming out of this interview is just how rough JR is looking these days.
Yeah, and I just kind of tuned that part out and just kind of focused on what Swerve was doing, because he tried to do his part by kind of taking the speaking parts away from Jim Ross. So you can hear specifically in this clip to where Jim Ross is about to ask him a question, you just cut him off and just go on a tangent or whatever. So JR can do less talking as possible. So I appreciate that. Another thing I appreciate about this promo was when Swerve was pointing out all the things that Bryan, his tropes, selling the arm, the tingling in the fingers, his neck, and talking about those things that he when he sees up in the ring and do the goofy shit, right? So I appreciate a lot of that stuff in this promo.
Yeah, I thought Swerve's good.
I thought Swerve dropping the "I'm in front of a couple thousand people" voice and being more human sounding to JR was really good. I think it kind of humanizes him in a way that we haven't seen on AEW.
Yeah,
but again,
and kind of
the JR stuff is that's really the takeaway here. Is man, you don't realize how bad of a state this man is in, and it's my understanding that he's turned his life around in a good way, but it's clearly I assume that he wants to be there. If you ask me, he made sure that he was there for that. He wants to be there. He wants to do this segment. He wants to be involved, which I think that's the best JR. The best JR is the guy who wants to be there. The problem is he just caught up to him. I was getting Biden vibes where it's I know he can do the job, but I don't know if he should keep doing the job.
Yeah, like he was like, I really felt like this was a bad segment, and he really took away from what Swerve was trying to accomplish here, because Swerve was like trying to get intense, and I was getting vibes of like him trying to accomplish what Triple H accomplished in his famous sit down interview with JR, where he got all intense and I'm the fucking game and all that, by like asking JR questions like, now why do you think that? And it felt like JR like was totally thrown off by him coming back at him, and JR just was like sat there and didn't say anything or react in a weird way. And I don't know, it was rough. And JR saying like, it feels like Bryan's talking like this is going to be his last one. And it's like, what are you talking about? That's the stipulation of the match, is that if he loses, he's retired. Like,
yeah, but
why are you
wrestling.
saying that?
JR's been around long enough to know people don't retire.
Sure. I don't know. And it's like, this was edited. This was a pre-tape. Like, and that's what they got. That's the best takes they got of this. Ugh.
Yeah, not really high energy. I assume that was like, the most excited he could sound right now, perhaps. Yeah. And hopefully he's doing all right. Like Paul said, apparently, he's made some life decisions for the better, but on coming through the TV, it just really, it was kind of distracting from the whole segment, like the content of it, just seeing the state that he's in now.
So, I mean, with that being said, we know the better decision you need to make, right? Getting that little bus.
What is?
Load up Chris Jericho and goddamn the Hardys and the rest of their asses and get the fuck on out of here.
The Hardys aren't even there anymore.
They're going to WWE. Though. They're in wrestling, though.
Did they get their Hall of Fame spot yet?
Wrestling bus? No, they're not in the Hall of Fame yet.
I think they should get it next year.
So they can like stop.
Well, I'll tell you who won't stop, and that's Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson in the main event of this episode of Dynamite, which is kind of crazy. I mean, like Bryan Danielson, obviously, but I don't know. Jeff Jarrett in the main event is
Jeff
a little
Jarrett
weird.
might be the best wrestler in AEW. Like, unironically.
I mean,
this was
like,
a really good match.
It was a good match. The
He gets
anything
it.
goes-ness of it, like the brawl that they had in the snack hallway or whatever you call it, for all the concessions,
The
snack
concourse.
hallway.
Concord, the snack hallway, the hallway where all the snacks are,
Where you do your junk food segments.
yeah. And all the people were out there. I thought it would I liked him punching Danielson and then Danielson, kind of bouncing away into the fans and kind of like having to hold himself up on the fans and get back into the fight. Like they did that 3 times. That was crazy. All the suplexes that they did onto that one trash can. Just all sorts of crazy shit like that. But yeah, I thought it's weird because it's Jeff Jarrett, but also it was a good match. But I don't know, what do you think this was effective, kind of hyping up Danielson going into this match that he's having with Swerve at All In?
I think so. I think it's
maybe.
I hope they
Bryan
the
can
intent
be violent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it just seemed like this was a match that these two wanted to do, so they did it.
I did.
It's kind of weird how Jeff Jarrett's
enjoy...
career has ended up where it is.
Yeah.
Because the 2000s era of the worst wrestling of all time, which we have talked about, is Jeff Jarrett was the devil. He was genuinely one of the worst things in pro wrestling from 2002 to a significantly long time. And now he's so fun.
He started this match by hitting Danielson over with the guitar just immediately on the entrance
on the stage. It was great. I think he didn't want people to enjoy his theme song.
I also very much enjoyed Swerve after the match coming out, and his one-liner about Oh, look at this. There's 3 TBS wrestling legends here. We've got Ricky Steamboat, Jeff Jarrett, and Swerve.
That's a true statement. Yeah. It's not even that big of a dunk.
Yeah.
That's just That's
like, yeah. And then he's like, he's like, oh yeah, Brian, you're here too. But the difference is the 3 of us have been world champions on this station.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, fucking got his ass.
I mean, that's cool if they keep their rights deal with TBS. Like sick burn, and then TBS is like, bye. Hope you enjoy. What's another Paramount network? Can they squeeze Paramount in Dynamite between episodes of Bar Rescue?
I'm looking forward to All In. I think on paper it looks like it's going to be a really good card. I don't love the way we're getting to some of these matches, but I'm sure the matches are going to be great, and that's kind of AEW in a nutshell, right? Like, they're not the best at storytelling, but
lately
they know how
they were for a while, but lately they just cannot seem to get it together on that end of things.
No, but when the bell rings, it's usually very good. So
yeah, the pay-per-views always deliver. I always come away from a pay-per-view going, I'm glad that I watched that. So yeah, All In's probably going to be good. I'm very curious where Orange Cassidy is going to be in time for it, because it seems like their thing with Orange Cassidy right now is just, hey, here's like Orange Cassidy hanging out with his friend of the week. This week it was FTR.
Yeah, I feel like him and that might be it, because they like called them FTR, and like they came out with the denim jackets. Like, I feel like that's gonna be an All In match.
Yeah,
the 3 of them versus somebody.
Tread that water, baby.
The Bang Bang Gang. They got the trio. No, they don't. Christian has the trios.
It's Christian and Nick Wayne and Nick Wayne's mom.
The patriarchy's defending against either the Bang Bang Gang or the House of Black.
I do really like that bit, by the way, that Nick Wayne's mom is holding one of the belts, and whenever they're doing promos, Killshot Luchasaurus is just like staring daggers at his mom, just like, I'm supposed to be holding that.
Excuse me, it's Kill Switch. Killshot is the world champion.
Kill Switch parentheses Luchasaurus. But he's Kill Switch. Oh wait, did I say Killshot?
Yeah, you did.
That's Swerve's old.
Getting it out. Everyone's going to hear it, and they're all going to say that Noah is stupid.
No.
I bet he knows more about video games than pro wrestling. If he had a video game podcast, I would listen to it.
Yeah.
If he had a podcast named Squared Circle Strafe, I would go subscribe to that wherever I get my podcast, is what they would say.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
I would
true
search
statements.
for it on my podcast app of choice, and I would go subscribe and listen to it every Monday, because he knows more about video games and pro wrestling. He probably thinks Luchasaurus' name is something dumb like Killshot. I want to hear him talk about Life is Strange.
Yeah, I don't get anything wrong on that show. It's all researched facts.
Yeah, it's very calming and soothing.
It's the vibe we like on this.
All of our hosts except for me and Cody have very soothing voices. They can host solo pods, no problem. Folks, I don't think we got all of it this week, but we can try again next week if you would let us. So that is it for this week's episode. If you like the show, subscribe to Didn't Get All of It wherever you get your podcast. Write a review, of course. Tell your friends. Make a sign and bring it to a wrestling show. Make your own t-shirts, because we don't have a shop yet, and wear them to wrestling shows. And if you really like us, sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/Fatal4Pod. You get ad-free episodes of Didn't Get All of It, Didn't Get All of It Japan, Squared Circle Strafe, and all of those things for only $3. You also get the Discord, so you can hang out with us and chat all week about all the things. There's like hundreds of us in the Discord, always chatting, so you can come have a fun time with us for only $3. Your support goes a long way too, so your $3 really helps keep the lights on around here. And I think that's all there is to say. But if there is more to say, we will do it next week. For myself, Paul Griffin, for Cody, who steered the ship this week, and B-Rob, and Pro Wrestling Noah, who hosts a video game podcast. Bye.